Welcome to the Newtypes podcast with today's primary hosts, CBF, and our lovely friends, Kaiser and Lonegrid, who has just gotten a coffee from our manga cafe. How does it taste, good sir?
It tastes most excellently, thank you. Smooth and sweet, just the way I like it.
Are you glad we picked this location for coffee?
I'm extremely glad we picked this location for coffee. And ambience, because manga in this manga cafe is nice. It makes life better.
But here's the thing, okay? Lone credit, okay? Let's say, hypothetically, that someone had just, put atom-sized amount of rat piss in your coffee. How would you feel about that?
I would not feel very good about that. Not very good at all. Luckily, that was just a hypothetical.
Of course.
Of course.
Hypothetically.
Very hypothetical indeed. And by the way, that impression that you just did, a buddy of mine actually found it very amusing when I showed him the other day.
Oh, he likes my Straw Shapiro impression.
Your Straw Shapiro impression, yes.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically that your friend, Locrit, if that is your real name, has very high taste in jokes. I would definitely, hypothetically, be giving him a Straw Shapiro patented shout out and hope he enjoys the show. Hypothetically. With facts and logic.
Also,
If
oh my
that
god,
came-
as we were recording, literally like 12 minutes ago, Super iPatch Wolf released a new fucking video.
No!
What are our thoughts on Super
No!
iPatch Wolf?
No! 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 We are not going there! We are not going there! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck me! Fuck all of you! We are not doing this!
I assume it's too soon to delve into
what he
AniTube for our anime-related podcast.
I am not going there. I am not touching AniTuber content. Currently, I do not give a fuck. I am sick to death of hearing AniTubers talk about other AniTubers. I do not want to do this.
Lone crit, are you telling me that you're anti-tube phobic?
Well, let's say hypothetically, that you have a tiny penis. So your accusations do not count. Hypothetically.
Okay, but your mom gay.
Oh my god. We are a very
I see you got the news
insular
already.
community in this manga cafe.
I see
We
you
are
got
not
the
at the
news
point
already,
yet.
Kaiser. I didn't know you two were in contact.
We are not at the point where we can reliably bank off and piggy off of other AniTubers who aren't shapes.
Yeah, this is a echo chamber podcast. Really.
Just like,
Yeah.
us elitists from Mal were meant to be.
Yes, an over-glorified circle jerk, if you will.
By the way,
Hypothetically.
I'm sure that buddy of mine would be very happy to receive that patented shout out if it were from anybody else other than Straw Shapiro. I mean Young Shapiro. I mean Kaiser Shapiro. I mean Young Kaiser doing Ben Shapiro.
What anime have y'all been watching this today?
Sherlock
Before this
Hound!
fucking dumpster fire.
Sherlock Hound!
Okay,
Oh God,
tell us
no.
about it.
So picture this, right? It is Sherlock Holmes and Watson and Moriarty, except they are doggos, and directed by Hayao Miyazaki.
What?
Whoa.
Oh my god, hold on guys for a second, I gotta check on something real quick.
Oh no. Mavericks are out again, aren't they?
Not again.
Yeah, listen. Retarded Rhino is kind of messing up an entire food store, so I gotta take care of it.
You know, when
meanwhile-
monsters attack, I deal with that shit outside our regular get-togethers. I managed
Why
to...
is it that when Mavericks attack, it's always within business hours?
I know, right? See, I managed to compartmentalize. I do not know what the fuck is Kaiser's problem. How he's so incompetent at taking care of those Mavericks that they just keep attacking when we be chilling.
Now hold on a second, asshole. Okay, that is not how that works. Okay,
Allegedly.
I'm going full. No, not even allegedly. It's not even hypothetical. It is factually true. That is not how that works. Okay, because you're not privy to the great Mega Man lore like myself and CBF here. Let me give you a good dose of facts and logic. Okay, the Maverick virus is something that cannot be controlled. Okay, we have not gotten to that point in the timeline yet.
Well,
So until then,
subjectively, facts do not care about your feelings.
that is not how that works.
Oh, and it's very fun that we are talking about a Maverick virus in the middle of the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, as we like to call it, for
Seriously?
the sake of monetization.
Kill me.
Wait, is that? I didn't know that was happening. Though. That's cool, I guess.
No, there's no actual Backstreet Boys reunion tour. That's just the monetization-friendly way of saying the cough thing.
I
Yes.
see what you did there, CBF. I see what you were doing. You were referencing coronavirus. Oh, this
No.
was very clever.
No, our monetization, our $0.
we are-
No.
No monies. Oh my god. Where's my
Well-
stimulus checks so I can buy
Well-
more waifu pillows?
Well, see, this is actually fine. Because how exactly would we split a penny between the three of us? While I may be a super awesome Reiwa Kamen Rider, I'm not quite that dexterous either with a knife or an axe.
How would that too?
It's
Look.
At this point, our manga cafe might as well just turn into Dante's shop at the end of Devil May Cry 5 and whatnot. It's just like it's a decrepit place that doesn't even have the lights on or plumbing properly. We just splurge on pizza and shit.
Thankfully, the owner
Yeah.
lady is very tolerant.
Yes.
That being said, though, continue telling us about Sherlock Hound.
So yes, it is a, I believe, 24-episode anime directed by Hayao Miyazaki. I think that one of the only TV series he's directed anyway, along with Future Boy Conan. Facts. And in said series...
And also a bit of Luke.
Yeah. And basically, it's a... Wait a sec, no, he only directed part of Lupin.
Yeah, I said a bit of Lupin, like part 2 or 3 or something.
Okay, I misheard of you. I
I thought it
misheard
was
of you.
part
Well,
one.
More likely.
it is part 1.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, Green Jacket.
Along with Isao Takahata and somebody else. It doesn't matter. Sherlock Hound. Detective anime for kids where Moriarty is like a fucking old, aging, dopey wolf. Sherlock is, I don't know, a hunt... Yeah, Sherlock Holmes is a hunting dog or something, and Watson is an old, fat, mustachioed doggo.
That's
God.
amazing. Wait,
It is.
Tell me. Hold on. Is like. Wait. One question. Well, 2 questions. Number 1, is or is there not a love interest for Sherlock? And number 2, is she or is she not a cat?
No, and no rabbits try to suck off wolves, you fucking pervert.
Don't make fun of B-stars like that. It's great, okay?
I know season 2 actually just ended. I haven't caught up with it because it's trapped in Netflix jail. But I saw season 1 and that was also hella fun and surprisingly solid. Like, it's alright CG that actually gets some really cool 2D visualization and whatnot. Studio Orange knocked that out of the park and just, man.
Oh,
That
yeah,
soundtrack is god tier.
B-Stars is fucking great. Like, I read it, like 2 years before it was even enough. You know, this is kind of a running trend with a lot of shows that are coming out lately. A lot of these are based on manga that I read like a couple years or so before they came out. But like,
Black Clover, Dr. Stone, Kaguya, Healer
Jujutsu
Hero,
Kaisen.
Healer Hero, Chainsaw Man, Shield Hero, Black Company.
Okay, but how many of those are good, though? I know Kage is good. We don't need to bring Rapist Healer into this discussion, or Incel Hero.
Shh, shh, we do not talk about those. We do not talk about those. We merely, semi-actively acknowledge their existence. Moving away from that. Actually, maybe we acknowledge Shield Hero straight up, because it's an interesting talking point. But regardless, yes, combatants will be dispatched. That's another one. Anything Junji Ito just feels like it happens all the bloody time. I'm honestly a little bit sick of it.
Well, now we are actually getting Uzumaki, which seems like it could be good. I heard that the Junji Ito 12-episode anime was an absolute dumpster fire.
Then you
And
just
this is
fucking
not that.
Don't you fucking hate it, by the way, when you just be shilling an awesome manga to people for ages and they're ignoring you, and then an anime comes out and for it and they're like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And I'm like, really? You don't say.
I was into this shit before it was cool, assholes.
That's
how I felt when, like... Yeah, that's kind of how I felt when, like, I was, like, shilling the B-stars to people, because... Lone Crit, I'm pretty sure one of our mutual friends, Zen, kind of recommended it to me way back when, and I read all the chapters, which were like, I don't know, in the 50s at that time or something, in like 2 days, and it was great.
Just putting it out there.
Oh, and also Vinland Saga is in that list. What?
Yeah, just putting it out there. If we ever get a new Blazing Transfer Student anime, and everybody's like, oh my god, dude, this is so funny and clever and cool, I will hang myself.
Oh my. You have to use a special move when you do that.
Yeah, because, like, I was on Shapes' server yesterday, and some guy was, like, sending screen caps of the Blazing Transfer Student OVA, and they're like, man, this is so good and funny and looks so great. Why is nobody talking about this? And I'm like, I have been shilling it almost every day for 2 years. Where the fuck were you?
Yeah, imagine if Blazing Transfer Student gets like the Shaman King treatment in like a couple years, and everybody's just shilling the shit out of it, and you just like it anymore.
It'll come complete with a Megumi Hayashibara OP.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like,
or since it's a shonen, it's like a big garboy shonen. Make that the ED and have Masaki Endo ex psychic lover for the OP.
See, hang on. It's not really so much a shonen as it is a very long comedy with shonen elements. You cannot call it a full, like, straight-up battle shonen when you have scenes like the main character getting, like, 100 power-ups in a row until he becomes the 100th version of himself, or being reborn as Blazing Transfer Student number 2, only to dip back into bed.
So what you're saying is that so what you're saying, Lone Crit, is that does that mean you need a very high IQ to understand Blazing Transfer Student?
I will take hedge clippers and snip your penis off, and then sell it on eBay.
That doesn't answer my question.
Wait, it's not rhetorical? Oh no.
I will say this. To truly understand Blazing Transfer Student, you need lava instead of blood.
Oh, so just like the main character with his hot button shonen attitude and stuff.
Exactly. Fun fact, when Noboru Takizawa went to America in the end of the manga, he was so hot-blooded that the entire country had a aura of fire around it for 2 years.
Based, America
Fact.
Bernie, just like it is right now. Topical episode.
Too real, CBF. Too real. But, like, back to the Sherlock Hound. A lot of the comedy in this shit is really, really on point. Like, there's this one bit where Moriarty and his two lackeys kidnap, fucking Sherlock Holmes's landlady, although here she's his maid, and they do it with a sleeping gas. And then, like, she's supposed to wake up, and she doesn't wake up. And so one of the lackeys who has a crush on her is like, "You killed her, you fiend!" And he's like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "No, you did, you liar, you murderer!" And he's like, "That is defamation. None of my murders have ever been successful."
Now that's some Konosuba shit right there, man. That's great.
Like, yeah, like, weird flex, but okay. There's also just, like, a lot of adult jokes that kind of may go over children's heads. Like, I don't know if you knew this, but, in the books, I'm given to understand Sherlock Holmes was on drugs. Like, he was an addict of some sort, or had substance issues. So there's this one bit.
Opioids and heroin.
Yeah, so there's this one bit where Watson comes in. The lab is filled with smoke from Sherlock Holmes doing chemistry. And, he's like, "A new commission, I assume." He's like, "A new commission, I assume, Watson?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "I deduced as such from hearing the door right before you came in." The front door, that being. And then Watson's like, "Oh, and also a bill from the liquor store and drugstore." I'm like, oof! Oof, Miyazaki!
Yeah, like,
Oh
that,
my God.
honestly, that's one of the very few adaptations that I know about relating to Sherlock that actually touched upon his drug addiction in any capacity.
Yeah, it's also the fact that just a lot of the time he looks very drowsy. I kind of like how I look a lot of the time.
Same.
You got something to tell us?
It's pretty much my aesthetic at this point.
Okay, do y'all both have something to tell me?
I have absolutely nothing to tell you. Unless you'd like to hear about Kamen Rider, then I definitely have something to tell you.
No! Speaking of
Anyway.
Miyazaki things, speaking of, like, ancient-ass Miyazaki things, Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro. Remember that shit?
Lupin's aside. Lupin's aside. Lupin's aside. Yeah, that was the original opening.
Too bad none of us are capable of singing the music from Castle of Cagliostro.
Well, not until I learned the lyrics.
But it is good.
Yeah, but and there's always the main theme though, the da 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 ba 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 da 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 ba ba.
I mean, there
ba,
were
ba.
lyrics
Back on
for
track
that
for
one,
Lupin
too.
though. The third, the Castle of Cagliostro, because damn. I know a while ago it actually got re-licensed by Discotheque Media, and it's coming out with like all of the previous dubs and stuff too, and it's just like, damn, that movie was
Really?
god tier. Yeah.
See, that is really good and all, but I really liked Jigen in one of the two dubs, but I can't help but default to the Japanese, because Yasuo Yamada as Lupin is just so good.
Fair. And I assume you're probably thinking of the Richard Epcar one.
Yeah,
'cause
Richard
that's who
Epcar.
voices him.
Maybe, he
Yeah,
sounded
he's
good.
still
Yeah.
going strong.
I just thought he sounded too young.
Fair. I still find
you
like one of
guys-
his out of context lines is like, "My reputation for misogyny is legendary." That line was
Yeah, I
peak.
love that. It's great. You know, I could have met Richard Epcar IRL like 2 years ago. I
Damn.
could have. Like, I was in the same space as him in like 2019 Otakon. I was in a line for like Kirk Thornton, and he was like right next to us. And I think he said a line relating to like old Joseph, because he was old Joseph in part 3. So, well, in the new part 3, not the old one. And like he said something really fucking funny, and everybody laughed. And it's like he was having a good time. Everybody was before the end came.
By the way, Kaiser, why don't you share your Kirk Thornton story and ask what you had him sign?
Oh shit! Okay,
I love hearing
so
about this every
everybody,
time.
Yeah, for preface, okay. Kirk Thornton, if y'all know him, is one of my favorite English voice actors ever. Okay, you can find out on my AniList account. You can even find it on my Mal account. He is that dude. Okay, Eh, um, he's
The
been
gas
Jin.
Kaiser has a mouth.
Don't find it. It's out of date. But like, he's been Jin in freaking Samurai Champloo. He's been Kisame from fucking what was it? Naruto. Unfortunately, he was Klein in SAO, which may or may not be a good thing depending on your interpretation.
More importantly, though,
basically,
motherfucking Blackjack!
yeah, he's been in the business for like longer than most other voice actors. He's one of the OGs. And yes, specifically one of his lesser known roles is of Blackjack in the Blackjack OVA that ran in like, I don't know, 2003 or maybe even just 2000, because that's like one of the very few like Blackjack products that ever even gotten dubbed in the first place.
Actually,
oh wait,
I have to tell you, Kaiser.
it was even later than that. It was in like 1993.
Yeah, they came out so spaced apart that they started in the 90s, early 90s, and ended in the late 2000s.
Yeah. So, I didn't keep in mind. So I was in Washington for Otakon 2019 with a friend of mine, and we were scrolling in like at the second day at night. Me and my friend were like scrolling through. Okay, who's going to be showing up for the panels because we gotta get some fucking autographs, all right? And I was all like, we see Haruka from Fooly Cooley's voice actress was going to be there. We see the voice actress for Ain Takamaki from Persona 5 was going to be there. And then we saw Kirk Thornton, and we were all like, why the fuck wasn't he in the freaking the what was it? Not magazine, but the book they give you for the events of the whole thing. We were just like, yeah, but we gotta see this dude. So I literally bought a copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix because he was Saïx in Kingdom Hearts, and he still is, which is great.
Ace. Great game, by the way.
I wish I had brought
probably the best Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, I wish I had brought my freaking 2.5 remix box if I had known he was going to be there. But regardless, I had that, okay? And I finally got up to like meet with Kirk, and Erica Harlicher, who by the way is the voice for Haruka, was like right next to him. So I gave it to him. I was dabbing him up and shit. He was a really fun guy, as you'll soon find out, right? And I made him sign it once with like a quote from Saïx in one of the games in like Kingdom Hearts 3. Not 3. 358 over 2 days. I think it was a line from there. And then the second, and that was like on the outside of the page. And then on the inside, because this was one of the very few parts of his roles that actually got quoted in the internet, I had him sign a quote from an episode of one of the Blackjack OVAs. And if I remember, it was, doctors can heal the body fine, but the heart is something much different, or something along those lines. So when I mentioned that role to him, he said, oh yeah, I remember that. It was such a fucking long time ago. And funny story about that, so he basically said verbatim, yeah, me and Crispin Freeman fought for that role, and he was low-key salty that I got it.
Imagine that alternate timeline with Crispin Freeman instead.
Dude,
that would be a very epic timeline.
Because like it would. And like funny thing is that a lot of the roles that people confuse Crispin in, it was actually Kirk. Granted, in these days it's a lot easier to define because Kirk is kind of old as balls, but still going strong. So there's a lot more rasp in this voice.
I mean, that makes sense. I refuse to believe that there's only one man on this earth whose balls are dropped twice.
So imagine that casting Battle of the Chads.
That would be incredible, man. I would love to be a fly on the wall on that whole fucking thing. I'm not even sure if I'm like privy to talk about this, but Kirk, you know who I am. If you ever come across this whole fucking thing, love you, dude. Seriously, keep doing what you're doing. In fact, I think he had a role in the Great Pretender dub, which is great.
Ooh.
Neat. I need to see that show as well.
By the way,
Yes.
back to Cagliostro for a sec. That rasp, that was actually one of my issues with the voicing of the character. He sounded too young. Jigen is older than Lupin, and he's a smoker. That's why what I liked so much about Kyosuke Kobayashi's portrayal of the character in the Cagliostro sub, as well as to this day. Though it's really funny that, what's his name? Either Kyosuke or Kiyoshi Kobayashi, when he started voicing Jigen, he was younger than the character, but now he's almost 90 and still going strong. He's like way older than the character, and he still voices him up until the new Lupin the First movie.
Neat.
Yeah, which we also definitely need to see. But yeah, that dude is a fucking champion. All of the Lupin casts are fucking chads, in my opinion.
Especially
Indeed,
Zenigata.
just like
Yes.
And Lupin in this movie. He is just such a glorious, theatrical, magnificent bastard in this movie. He's brilliant. I especially
he
love
is.
the dialogue he has with Clarice in this movie when he's just like, tell her to have faith in him, have faith in the thief. Before he basically does like a little magic trick and gives her a rose. Right
Well-
before he gets sent down a trap hole thanks to the main villain. And he just has this awesome
Posed
look
expression
of just
yeah.
smug determination on his face. Like he knows he's gonna get out of this, as if he's
Yeah.
just saying, wait for me, without having to actually say it.
It's also the fact that he contextualized what was going on as a story between of a conflict between a powerful evil wizard and a powerless thief fighting over a beautiful princess. Oh, so romantic and beautiful. I think that was one of the scenes that made me cry once or twice when watching the movie. A friend of mine actually visited me last summer, Sarah, and I ended up crying, I think, like twice during the movie. And one of the scenes I cried during was that bit, because that was just like such a good bit. Both in the sub and the dub, although I personally think that Yasuo Yamada as Lupin in Japanese is the one who like really sold that shit, but I digress.
So what you're saying is that you're homosexual for Lupin.
That's correct, I am 1% gay, what of it?
So technically, that makes Lone Creek bi, and to be fair, you were bi for a based chat.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
by the way...
this fills our diversity quota in this podcast.
By the way.
But, by the way, speaking of diversity quotas, a white, a black, and a Hispanic who walk into a manga cafe. Now, isn't that the beginning of the worst joke ever?
Yes, a joke going 3 episodes strong.
Yes. Absolutely.
And for hopefully many more.
Yeah.
Back to Sherlock.
Also, Tony Oliver also makes a pretty good Lupin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, though, there are a lot of interesting commonalities between Sherlock Hound and Lupin the Third, the Castle of Cagliostro. Like, you'll have a lot of the surreal gags. Like, remember when Lupin's falling down the, like, waterfall thing, and he's sort of swimming against the current, even though he's already fallen off the edge? You'll get a lot of anti-gravity gags like that in Sherlock Hound. Or a lot of the, sort of reaction noises, or little bits of music, or sound effects, or whatever, when somebody notices a thing. Or like,
yeah, like that sort of
yeah.
Looney Tunes type gag, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that sort of like Looney Tunes type gag, those are fun. And all the rubber banding and stuff. Like, also in the chase thing. That I believe, like, that Shaved and Steve M also talked about in their Castle of Cagliostro video. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Yeah, that's that you'll get a lot of those types of gags in Sherlock Hound. I don't really have much to say about that one actually, as I'm already only 5 episodes in. But I did see another Miyazaki sometime this month, and anyway, another Miyazaki I actually saw this month is a few days ago. I ended up watching whatchamacallit? Ponyo! Yes, Ponyo, a movie I haven't seen since I was a little kid. In big air quotes, of course, because that shit came out in 2008.
Yep.
I was
It has
flabbergasted when I learned that.
Osiris and the Jonas brother.
What?
I just straight up haven't seen it. Wait, what?
No, remember, like the people for the dub of Ponyo who voiced like Ponyo and the other kid. It's Osiris and the Jonas brother.
Oh yeah, I knew it was
Like,
a
one of the
Cyrus.
younger sibling. What'd you
Yeah,
say?
it was Miley Cyrus's little sister. I didn't know about one of the Jonas brothers. I did know that the antagonist of the film, and my personal favorite character in it, Fujimoto, was Liam Neeson.
Yes, it was,
Based Chad Liam Neeson.
and he's fucking great. Although some of the lines were kind of stilted, but you know.
Yeah, it's funny you should
Mm.
mention that, because I said this too with the people I was watching the bloody thing with, is that there's this one bit, right, where he's talking and he's basically doing the English equivalent of yada yada does it, where he kind of waves his hand back and forth and he's just like moving quite a bit, but the way the line is delivered, while very appropriate, it sounds like he's not moving at all, which gave me this weird little feeling of a disconnect.
I see. Okay. But aside from that, what else did you think of the movie? Because I kind of liked it for the most part.
I
haven't seen it.
I thought it was good to pretty good, but at the same time, I did not care for it. I did not care for it one bit.
Yeah, it's just kind of like one of the okay catalogs, you know. It has some pretty memorable aspects to it, and like, but that's not really.
Like, what I was gonna say about when I watched Ponyo is that I didn't really care for it much, because it kind of pulls a Weathering with You to some extent, where the fate of the world is intertwined with a particular romance, where pursuing the romance is to the detriment of the world. Now, it doesn't come across quite as irritating, because the characters in Ponyo are like 5, so it's not quite as irritating, I should say. Because, like, the characters in Weathering with You are just completely dislikable. Specifically, the main guy there at the end with the choices he makes.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
the ending of Wuthering With You.
Yes,
so
sacrificing
much.
the entire world being flooded over getting some pussy.
Yeah, you gotta love how the main guy there, by the way, was like, but little by little we healed. Okay, fuck all those people who lost their homes and jobs and livelihoods, I guess. Fuck their children. Fuck their children who starved to death.
Like, oh, nature is like, oh, it's slowly coming back, or taking over. This is just kind of how it has to be. He's like, no, this is literally just accelerationism, and the old lady is just saying that, and it's just a bullshit excuse to justify his selfish actions.
Yeah,
While
fuck the people who
basically
can't
guys,
swim.
actions that completely run counter to the development that the film was setting up for him.
But guys, listen, okay? He is a Makoto Shinkai protagonist who is horny on May. I think that kind of seals the argument.
Horny on main for a girl that's slightly older than him.
We had Garden of Words right there. We already had Garden of Words. We didn't need this.
And
Garden
I
of
am
Words.
so glad we brought that joke back from last episode. Also, yeah, Garden of Words is an actually good anime, unlike Weathering with You or Kimi no Nawa. Fuck both of those.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Kimi no Nawa, but Weathering with You is pretty good. Regardless, though, Ponyo, right? I find it more forgivable because it's like little 5-year-old kids. Having said that, though, then we get into the problem of that I can't possibly take the romantic relationship seriously because they're little kids. Now, I get that you can have a sort of semi-romance with little kids, where it more emphasizes kind of the feelings and the connection and stuff. That's fine. However, that makes me inadvertently sort of side way more with the film's antagonist, the mighty wizard and presumably father of the sea, Fujimoto, whose entire deal is pretty much humans are dangerous and they fuck up the world. I do not want my daughter mixing with them. And also, my daughter is young. She doesn't understand. She doesn't know what she wants or what's best for her, or like the danger of humans. I should just take her back, separate her from this kid that she barely knows, and hope she forgets about this shit in time.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to pull the whole Little Mermaid thing, and like there it's a bit more understandable, not only because, well, Ariel is not 5, so there's that, and
the world
also
won't end.
the world wasn't going to end, and also King Triton was low key kind of abusive in that movie.
I honestly, oh yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, he is, but you get his perspective. Regardless, though, Fujimoto, right? For starters, there are other reasons I found myself particularly like siding with the this character. It's partially down to Liam Neeson's performance as the character, where you really, it's a little bit like Weathering with You in this respect, where you don't quite get the kids, even though the kids are written in this like really natural, organic way, unlike the kids in Weathering with You, but enough shitting
And
on
Kimi no
Weathering with
Na wa.
You. Yeah, enough shitting on Weathering with You, though. Like, the kids feel really, really natural. Like, there's this one scene where the main kid, whose name I do not remember or care about, retrieves Ponyo when she's still a little fish thing from, like, a bush after he has her in a bucket, and she's just, like, floating upside down.
Yeah.
And he thinks she's dead, and he starts crying, and that reminds me of this one time when I was taken to a school trip as a kid, and because somebody was messing with this, like, sea plant thing, I started crying or got, like, really pissed or something because it was alive, and I was a little fucking kid. And so that kind of reawakened that in me. I also really like animals. Legit, once I burst into tears when somebody described in detail the movie Hachiko to me. So, yeah. But with Fujimoto, right, how's he say this? You can tell there's this kind of care and tenderness there in the character. You can like his design, right? The way it's colorful, but also like very like suit jackety, and the cloak and trousers. It's classy, but also friendly, the design and the attire. You have a lot of kind of wavy, rounded aspects, but at the same time you've got pointed tips on the hair, without the hair itself looking very, for lack of a better word, Yu-Gi-Oh-y. And yeah, there is a better word, that's just what I want to go with.
Yu-Gi-Oh-y, the ship between Yugi and Joey.
Yeah, well, you can tell though in this film that Fujimoto really is, albeit a slightly prejudiced against humans father, but for good reason, ultimately a caring and tender man who really does have his daughter's best interests in mind. You can really tell at the end of the film too, when things don't go his way, sort of, and he and his wife decide to leave Ponyo with the little boy. When he says goodbye to the little boy, he puts out his hand to shake his hand, and the line, the way it was delivered from Liam Neeson really killed me, where he says, "Do try to remember me kindly." That really sealed the character for me.
We really should have put a spoiler warning for Ponyo. Oh god.
It really made me feel what a
spoiler
good-hearted...
warning. Yeah, let's put a spoiler warning at, like, I don't know, the beginning of, like, the podcast or whatever, as, like, a disclaimer. It's whatever.
Maybe, maybe not. But that line, though, that really made me feel ultimately what a good-hearted, well-meaning, and sort of a kindly man he was, despite what he'd done. Like, the way he's portrayed, you can really buy him as both a loving father and loving husband. He and his wife only have one scene together, but like the way they lean on each other and discuss things and both have sort of their failings and perspectives, you can really tell how much they love each other, especially just the sort of bewildered or kind of hopeless look, or just surprised, maybe lively look on his face when he and his wife hold hands. Really nice. When they only shared one scene.
Yeah, keep in mind, this has to be pretty good if Lunkra is actually giving credit to an anime starring children, which, as we probably established by now, is not his forte.
I mean, to be
But,
fair, I
we
am
got
praising
there.
the father. I'm praising the adult father character, not the child.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck 'em kids. But
Fuck kids. Fuck them to death.
yeah,
No, Lunker, please no.
now hold on a minute.
No.
Okay,
The
so
folly of man versus the superior robots that
yeah.
just
And speaking
blast
of
things
robots,
away.
yeah, speaking of robots though, talking about a show that has nothing to do with kids, but definitely worse than Ponyo, despite how awesome it seems. Detonator Organ by Masami Obari, or at least directed by him.
The base Chad himself.
Yes, the dude is fucking crazy, honestly. Like, he almost rivals Go Nagai for just, like, well, just general craziness. It's kind of weird. I guess Masami Obari is, like, leaning more on, like, the fucking horny end of the spectrum, but, like, still pretty insane.
Bonk.
But, like, here's the thing. Detonator Organ, as cool as it's as cool as, like, some of the aesthetic parts of it is. And, it's a short 3-episode OVA in, like, 1991, whatever. As cool as, like, the aesthetic is of course, especially with, like, the main character's, like, Met suit, which looks fucking amazing. And kind of reminiscent of Tekkaman Blade, but let's not talk about that. As cool as it is, it like, the problem I have with the OVA overall is just that it's so fucking slow. It kind of just blitzes through a lot of character beats, and, like, so much of the depth in what the villain in some of the characters and aspects of it just feel incredibly fucking superfluous. Also, the parts that you actually want to go into the movie for, which are the fights, are mostly kind of just bog standard shit, like not even all that well animated.
Aw, lame.
I know, it's unfortunate. Because
Unless-
Organ's design is so fucking good.
I still find it kind of interesting that the only Obari thing I've technically seen is a little bit of is just his mild involvement in fucking Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise Season 2. But yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this up
Oh,
soon.
he did?
My God. Yeah, he actually did it, like, well, he basically was like, I forget his role. It was like a minor one. I think he was in charge of, like, action supervision. But yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Detonator Organ, definitely one of the, like, if you just want, like, bog standard sci-fi action shit, I guess you can just watch it. It's whatever.
Yeah, and on that note, we might as well
Kamen Rider
wrap
Zedo.
some other time. Right now, we are basically gonna shit can this entire thing right now. So, as our manga cafe is crumbling all around us, we conclude this episode of the Newtype podcast.
See you
Fuck
next
us all.
time.